Before we jump into things, actually, I want to talk about the music that's playing in the background. We got Stream Beats Hip Hop by Harris Heller. Copyright-free music for your Twitch streams, YouTube videos, and rap battles. So that's going to be the music that's in the background of today's video/stream. Also, I've got a new camera since last year. I'm not used to looking at this camera, so I apologize if you see me looking this way. That's my second monitor. If you see me looking this way, that's my main monitor. Happy end of the year, everybody. Welcome. This is my 2025 games I've played this year tier list. And I actually thought that all I played this year was Assassin's Creed. Totally forgot that I played other games this year, which is good because now I get to kind of have a refresher on them and give my thoughts. But these were more towards the beginning of the year, waiting for Assassin's Creed Shadows to come out. We're going to start with these solo games that I played this year, and then we'll jump into Assassin's Creed, which is going to be the main focus of today's video. Oh boy. So we're going to be starting with Birth. For these one-shot games that I did, I'll do a quick little summary on Steam telling you guys about the game. Birth was, you are alone. You will build a creature, a partner, a wet, warm heart, a collection of bones. This is the game that had the creepy but pretty aesthetic that was also a puzzle game. So your whole thing was you were trying to collect all the parts that you needed to make your partner. That's it. Like, it's not that deep. Yeah, this is pretty much what the puzzles look like. You touched everything. I also 100% this game in my first playthrough. Funny enough, it was this game that made me want Steam to have a pop-up when you finished all your achievements, because I played this game and I actually had no idea that I had 100% it until I was like, wait, isn't there an achievement I'm missing? And I tab out and nope, I had them all. But from what I remember of Birth, I genuinely really enjoyed the puzzles. The aesthetic, pretty creepy, or creepy pretty. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like it's supposed to be grotesque and bother you, but the color palette and just the art style just make it, I don't know, soothing, easier to look at. I don't know how to describe it, but I didn't find the puzzles too challenging. I thought it was great for like a quick one-shot like puzzle game. The game is typically $10. I probably bought it on sale. I'm not gonna even like sugarcoat it. I find the puzzles, I remember only getting stuck on one of them for a little bit, but for the most part, they're pretty like self-explanatory. Like you would look at it and you would kind of just know what to do. I'm gonna throw Birth under Loved It. I see no reason to put it any lower than that. No complaints. Next is 60 Seconds Reatomized. So 60 Seconds Reatomized, the post-apocalyptic dark comedy is back, remastered and even more radioactive than before. Scavenge supplies, rescue your family, and stay alive in your fallout shelter. Make difficult decisions, hunt mutant roaches, and maybe survive. Or not. There's really not much to this game. It's a point-and-click strategy game. You run around as either Ted or Dolores, and you get supplies, including your family members, take them to your shelter before the nukes hit, and you just gotta survive. They give you yes or no scenarios, choices, when to feed them, when to give them water, when to heal them if they've been injured, and you just do your best to survive. It's not typically my type of game. I enjoyed it for what it is, but it definitely wasn't my favorite game that I've played this year. It's very good. A lot of this is also strategy, and I definitely, the more I play it, the more I got better with strategies. And if you look at my gameplay videos, I think I did decent enough to say that like I could continuously play the game and probably get all the good endings. I think. Do with that information what you will. But yeah, I really don't have too much to say on the game, so we're just gonna put it under that's pretty good. It's not going to go under meh because I did have a good time playing it, but I don't want to put it under loved it because it's just not my type of game. It's probably something that I'll play casually, but nothing that I would sink hundreds of hours into. But I would like to come back to it one day to 100% all those Steam achievements. Next is Arcane Blast. Arcane Blast is a fast-paced, action-packed roguelike brimming with sorcery. Master the 7 elements, combine them to achieve powerful reactions, and face swarms of enemies to help feline mage Adrian find his way home from a time dungeon. Gameplay itself, I had fun with it. You randomly can get power-ups and abilities every time you defeat a level. I don't remember if you get one when you first start the game, but whatever, not the point. I remember when I first went through it, I genuinely struggled to get past the first boss. And then once I got past the first boss, it just got easier and easier. So the game doesn't necessarily have the best difficulty, in my opinion. And then you could also go into the equivalent of New Game Plus, which is just you keep all your powers, just go through the fights again. But you're 10 times stronger than all the enemies at this point, and you could just blast through the game on New Game Plus. I was hoping that beating the game on New Game Plus, you would get some type of ending, but nope. You're still trapped. You're still stuck as a cat. Like, nothing really changes. The game's fun up until you beat it. Afterwards, there's not much to do. If you like 100%ing and you want the Steam achievements, there's plenty to do. Oh, I forgot about difficulty stages, so I do take that back. I've not beat the game on the hardest difficulty, but I noticed in normal difficulty, the more you played it, after beating the boss the first time, I didn't really see myself struggling with the game too much. Am I saying that the game should have been harder? Not necessarily. Am I saying that maybe it was too easy compared to previous roguelikes I've played? Maybe. Oh wait, I just realized my ranking is in the wrong order. There we go. Meh is supposed to be like the lamest game. I don't think any games on this tier list are gonna go under meh this year. We'll see when I start talking about Assassin's Creed. Let's finish with Arcane Blast. I'm gonna throw it under had good moments. This is why I think my tier category of had good moments is perfect, because I had fun with it once I beat it. And then the content afterwards, the replayability of it being a roguelike just does not put it higher on the tier list for me. So it had good moments, so that's where I'm putting it. Next is Assemble with Care. Repair old school objects in this cozy puzzle game. Join antique restorer Maria as she arrives in the sun-soaked town of, God, I butchered this then, I'm gonna butcher it now, Bellariva, and set out on a journey of helping the townsfolk reconnect. The story was really fun. I loved the story. The puzzles, I think the puzzles were a little too easy. I had some like frustrating moments. Like, actually, I'm just looking at a clip now. I hated unscrewing and rescrewing stuff because that's what like got me stuck, because you had to like genuinely put everything back together. Story-wise, I think it's beautiful. I got a little emotional with the dad not giving enough time to his daughter. I think just being a simple repair woman, Maria does so much for this town. And it's a very cute game. I love the art style. The aesthetic is gorgeous. And I'm a fan of like certain retro devices. I know not everything in this game was considered retro. I think I went over that when I played it. I don't remember. But I actually had fun like taking certain things apart and putting them back together, because I've done that in real life with my dad. Oh, that was my favorite story looking at the clips now. One was like a designer, fashion bougie, whatever. I don't remember what her career was. And the other was a coffee shop owner. And they were on two totally different paths in life, but they ended up needing each other. Hit a little bit close. That's why I tend to do good attention-wise with sisterly stories, because I am a sister. If you're into games like Unpacking or A Little to the Left, it's similar to those games aesthetic-wise, but it's different because you're repairing, putting things back together versus like organizing things. I think this is a good like variation. If you like the aesthetic of Unpacking but want to do something different, not organizing, I think Assemble with Care is a good alternative. I'm gonna throw it under loved it. I actually think I loved it more than Birth, just because it had a little bit more story that I resonated with. All these games that I've talked about so far are still good games. These are just my personal opinions. And now the moment I'm sure most of you have been waiting for, because my entire content this year has been Assassin's Creed. If you like watching my VODs, I'm so sorry, because all I've been posting is Assassin's Creed and the occasional Marvel Rivals and Repo. I'm going by the order I played them. I did a description for the other games I played because I wanted to like show them off to people, because I think they're all indie games that I would definitely recommend people checking out. So that's why. That's one of the reasons I'm giving the description. But here's the description for Assassin's Creed. Assassins versus Templars. Boom. You're playing one of them. Let's start with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh god. So in Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's actually two playable characters. You play as the samurai Yasuke or the assassin Naoe. For starters, it's better than Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But let me tell you that Shadows is not that far behind. First of all, we're not even going to talk about the Attack on Titans update that they did. I don't like Attack on Titans like that, but I feel bad for whoever does. Naoe's story feels unfinished, and the game even acknowledges the fact that her story feels unfinished. The main story game ends with one of them going to the other. I think it's Yasuke to Naoe, but I honestly don't remember. This feels like the job's not done. It feels like we're not finished. You know why? Because it's not. They left it open to interpretation and haven't finished it. Do you know what Assassin's Creed Shadows did? Do you know what Ubisoft did? They said, here's our roadmap. We'll give you the rest of the story later. I'm sorry, I hate that. I personally hate to play a game that is unfinished. I did not buy Assassin's Creed Shadows for 6 months later them to decide, you know what? Now we'll give you the rest of the story. And instead of like that being a sequel bait and being like, oh my god, we're gonna get like an Ezio trilogy, but we're gonna get a trilogy with Naoe and Yasuke. No, it's just, hey, here's our roadmap. We have more of the story to give you. Hey, it's me, Ubisoft. I have more story to give you, but in 6 months, because we decided to give you a game that's unfinished. the more Assassin's Creed games I played, especially of the older ones, the more I hate the newer ones. And I now finally understand what people were saying. It's totally valid to like them. I love the aesthetics and Cassandra of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think Origins has the best story of the 4 open world RPG fucking Assassin's Creed games, whatever you want to call the new ones. Valhalla has a massive amount of content, which is fantastic. It's overdone, but the game does keep you busy, I won't lie. And Shadows does great with Yasuke's story, does great with the dynamic. I love the like best friend slash sibling dynamic that the two of them have. I didn't see a lot of people saying this, but I did see some people talking about how they were worried about Yasuke and Naoe ending up together. I don't see that dynamic with them at all. I think they wrote the characters really well, that they genuinely seem like friends. I will admit that it's a good strategy, or an attempt of a strategy from Ubisoft. We're gonna give you more content for free and you can play more Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're gonna give you reasons to come back to the game. Here's a Dead by Daylight update. Here's an Attack on Titans update. Here's more story for Naoe. You thought Naoe's story was interesting? Here's more of it. We got more for you. And it's great to bring people back into the game. Me personally, I would have come back for like the Attack on Titan and the Dead by Daylight stuff, but not for Naoe's main story. I think that should have been just like in the base game, because she's your main character. She's your assassin. How are you gonna like leave out her story? And it's like, oh, but we want people to come back to the game. Well, it didn't work for me. I can't come back to a game that's unfinished. Like, you made me go through all of that only to tell me, hey, in 6 months you'll get your answers to your questions. And I'm like, what? I don't like that. Again, this is all just my opinion. I've been ranting about Shadows for too long. I haven't even talked about the gameplay or anything else about the game because I just hate this part so much. Gameplay wise, it's a fucking Assassin's Creed game. Yasuke's the brute, she's the assassin. I think her stealth was interesting because you could go under floorboards, you can cling onto the roof. I know in updates they improved the parkour. That's still just a thing of like, that should have just been in the base game. And it's just Ubisoft. They just did so much that I don't appreciate. But I'm trying to look past all that and look at the game itself. I liked Yasuke's story so much, and I actually loved playing as Naoe. She felt very like what I wanted from an Assassin's Creed game, which was all stealth. Like, I had the option between stealth and brute, and when I chose stealth, I actually felt like I was using the opportunity of stealthy properly. It didn't feel a little overpowered like in Mirage. Granted, we know why Basim has his reasons for feeling a little overpowered, the same way Cassandra has her reasons. But I feel like they did her gameplay, Naoe's gameplay, really well. As well as Yasuke's if you're into the brute style. I'm not too into that brute style, but thankfully it balanced out of like I really liked his story, so it made me want to play as him more. I don't want to rant about Assassin's Creed Shadows anymore because we still have all of these other Assassin's Creed games to go through. I just had a lot to say about Shadows, and I say this every time I talk about Shadows, so hopefully this is the last time I say Assassin's Creed Shadows in 2025. And let's hope I say it a lot less in 2026. But we'll see what Ubisoft comes up with. I'm gonna throw it under... Did I have more fun with Arcane Blast and Assassin's Creed Shadows? Probably not. So I'll put it under... Hey, it has good moments and it's definitely better than Arcane Blast. But yeah. Also, little side note, obviously, I'm not comparing a massive AAA Ubisoft game to an indie. I'm not comparing the games, I'm comparing my experiences, and I definitely had a better time playing Shadows than I did Arcane Blast, but at the same time, like, look where they are on the tier list, you know? Moving on, Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 is the introduction to the Ezio trilogy. I wish we had gotten more of like this single Assassin trilogies. So Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio is just living his life with his brother. He's like, oh, and may this never change us. And then bam, next snap, next snap, next snap, everybody fucking dies. Ezio dons the Assassin's Creed gear. He becomes an assassin. He works with other assassins and he just wants revenge. And thankfully, his assassin's friends stop him from getting revenge and teach him how to be one of them and follow in their creed. I just came up with all of that on the spot. I'm sorry if it's not totally accurate. Again, I played these games more towards the beginning of the year. I think I got to Creed 2 by March or April. Gameplay wise, it did well improving on Assassin's Creed 1, and it gave us a more likable protagonist. I'm not saying that Altair was bad. I'm just saying Ezio was a lot more fun to relate to. Altair was just kind of, I broke the rules and I'm mad about it, but I become a better person by the end of the game, which I appreciate. That's character development. Me personally, I say we, but I really mean me personally, became a lot more attached to Ezio, especially of the fact that it's a trilogy and we got to see his character grow even more. I really don't have much to say about Creed 2. I have more to say about Brotherhood. Good things, I promise. It's actually my favorite of the trilogy, but we'll get into that. So for Assassin's Creed 2, I'm gonna put Assassin's Creed 2 very high under that's pretty good. Just because when we get into the rest of the Assassin's Creed games, you'll see why. I definitely loved some of these games more than Assassin's Creed 2, but it is a very good Assassin's Creed game compared to Assassin's Creed 1. Like, it did really well, I think, pulling people back into the franchise. I think if Assassin's Creed 2 didn't do well, we would not be getting so much Assassin's Creed content. But I also don't know the history of them making the game, so that's my opinion. Next is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which is my favorite of the Ezio trilogy. Brotherhood does really well of improving even more upon the franchise. He has a better relationship with his allies by Brotherhood. He also loses allies in Brotherhood, aka the death of his uncle Mario. If you're interested in any of these games that I'm talking about, by the way, I've streamed all of them. Unfortunately, I don't have VODs on all of them because Twitch fucking limited the VODs, and I decided to just delete them and go through and download all of them because I have a full-time job and I do not have time for that. But I did make YouTube videos on all of them, so exclamation point YouTube in the chat. And if you're watching this on my second channel, Just Troya, check out my main channel, Troya space NR, and there you can see all the gameplay videos. The only thing I have with a complaint of this game, my only genuine complaint, is the fucking relationship with the brother and the sister. Every time the two of them were on screen, I was uncomfy. Oh, in this game, I'm pretty sure this is the game that made me hate French people. There was a mission I played that took me like an hour to do. I don't know, I've burned it out of my memory. I've just decided I hate French people. Sorry, any French viewers watching this. Ezio has great fucking one-liners. The writers for the Ezio trilogy did fucking fantastic with his character, because my favorite line of his comes from this game. Chains will not hold me. I will not die by the hands of man. And Ezio responds with, then I leave you in the hands of fate. And lets this motherfucker fall off the cliff. Deserved. I love that so hard. Whoever wrote that, 10 out of 10. Cesare, oh Cesare, a man of great depravity, believed himself immortal till he had a date with gravity. That is my second favorite line that Ezio's ever sang. When I heard that, I remember laughing. That's from Revelations though, but it has to do with the events of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which is why I brought it up. When it comes to the Ezio trilogy, I actually really don't have many complaints. I actually have complaints about Revelations, certain lack of content and how the game felt rushed. Again, we'll get into that when we jump over to Revelations, but with Brotherhood, it's my favorite Assassin's Creed game of like the newer ones. Still haven't played Unity or Syndicate, so we'll hold off our like full thoughts until then. But as of this moment, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game of the original ones, and it's going on the top of loved it. I really don't have any complaints of Brotherhood. Next is Assassin's Creed Revelations, the finale of the Ezio trilogy. I actually do kind of have a complaint with Revelations. I like the hook blade, but I also didn't like it. At the time of release, I don't know if the general audience knew this was going to be the finale of the Ezio trilogy, but at least I knew. So implementing a new mechanic was kind of weird to me, because on one hand, it was like, cool, something different. But on the other hand, I was like, why are we getting something different in like the trilogy in the finale? It was just weird to me. I don't know why. I genuinely can't tell you, because I played the Batman Arkham trilogy and like they introduced the Batmobile in the third game and I didn't question that. I don't know why the hook blade being added into the third game bothered me. The love interest also bothered me. That felt kind of forced, but not really. I thought they were cute together, whatever her name was. I'm sorry, I'm like doing awful with names. I already suck at remembering names as it is, and then trying to remember them like 6 months later, fucking forget it. So it does make sense that in his older age, he wants to settle down. All our missions for some reason kept leading back to her, just for the fact of like she could be used as a pawn in like the grand scheme of things. She could be used as a pawn against Ezio, of like, oh, here's someone you care about. Oh, and they also killed off his other ally. Oh my god, what was his name? The guy with the curly hair with the, I'll put the picture on screen. It just felt weird to me that it just kept leading back to her like after every other mission. And on one hand, you could say it's an excuse of like he's a hopeless romantic and he just wants to be with her, but on the other hand, it felt kind of weird for an Assassin's Creed game. Like it felt like it was focusing a little bit too much on their dynamic. So far, we haven't seen in the other Assassin's Creed games them focusing so much on the woman. Ooh, the other thing I didn't like was the fucking tower defense game mode. What was that about? Like, that was so random. And it was introduced in the main story, and then we never used it again. I do notice that Assassin's Creed does that. I've noticed that in the last couple of games. They will introduce a feature, you use it in the main story, and that's basically the tutorial of them introducing it to you, because you're going to use it later for side content, but then it's never introduced again, or never used again in the main story. I think it would make way more sense if you introduced the tutorial as like the first mission of the side content. But the fact that they throw it into the main story to make sure you know about it. You know how many times in an Assassin's Creed game I've been introduced to a concept, never touched it again in the main story, and then when I needed to come back to it for side content or Steam achievements, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. The beginning of the game is meant to show you that Ezio's gotten older and he's just not cut out to be an assassin. Not that he's not cut out to be an assassin anymore, but it might be time to retire the cape soon. The game's way of showing the audience that this is why Ezio wants to go and settle down, because he's realizing he's starting to get too old for this. Because look how long Altair lasted. Granted, he didn't do a lot of fighting, Mr. Apple of Eden, but, you know, he did live pretty long. I think. I don't know, he looked fucking old. That was the other thing about Revelations. We got a lot of Altair flashbacks, which I thought was weird, but I'm ready to rank it. Anywho, Revelations was good conclusion, but also a weird game. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of loved it. So Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I was talking about this on stream the other day. Black Flag gives us a really great perspective on how the war between the Templars and the Assassins has affected like everyday people. Granted, Edward's a pirate. He's not exactly an everyday civilian. You know, the Assassins and the Templars, or at least I think the Assassins assume that their war doesn't affect the people or that they're just too busy trying to save people. But listen, I've played as your fucking assassins. Like, your war is saving nobody. You know how many freaking people I've run over with my horse? I don't see no Templars running over horses. You know why? Because I played Haytham and he had a horse, so never mind. But I played an entire game as, say, Shay, and he didn't have a horse. So that's a whole game where I didn't run over anybody. Edward's all in it for the money. This is quite literally a pirate simulator. You're not really an assassin until the end of the game, and even then I believe he doesn't even officially join the Assassins until he's done bonding with his daughter. Hugely improved on the ship combat from Assassin's Creed 3. I know I'm talking about them out of order. It's because we're talking in the order I've played them. Black Flag does really well at making you like care for your characters and also expect characters to do certain things. Oh my god, our bestie from the beginning of the game, the blonde guy, I forgot his name, but he ends up becoming a pirate and then he's like, never mind. And yeah, Edward just kind of serving his own good, but his character arc goes from the guy who has nothing and wants everything to the guy who had everything and lost it because his greed was too much. There is a point in the story where Edward has the money he wants. He could have gone back to his wife at any point, but he's committed to the town, and so every pirate can have this kind of life. And he's committed to taking down the people who want to destroy his town, and he's committed to finding an even greater treasure because what he has isn't enough. And because of that greed, he's punished for it. He loses everyone. Gameplay wise, it's an Assassin's Creed game. I don't think they added much. I know that they had changed like the hiding and the whistling. Black Flag was after Creed 3. You're going from like minor ship combat to total ship combat. I didn't really struggle with it. I liked it. I'm actually going to switch this. I want to bring Revelations down to that's pretty good and then put Black Flag over here. But next is Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 is the first Assassin's Creed game I ever finished. It's the only one I actually finished before I started streaming the franchise. I have a lot of love and bias for it. The beginning part where you play as a Templar and the reveal that he's a Templar will never not amaze me. I know the twist is coming and I'm still like happy to see it. And then you switch over to Connor, but then that's kind of where my main complaint with this game comes in. Assassin's Creed 3 makes no sense. I just realized I didn't share my screen. So it's by Ask Your Uncle. It's about a 2-hour long video, but I highly recommend it. I don't agree with everything he says, but I definitely agree with a lot of his main points with his complaints with certain Assassin's Creed games. So definitely check out his channel. But the problem I have with it is the game technically is too short for what it is. I kind of have a similar complaint with Assassin's Creed Rogue, but that one we know is short. This game, you don't know. There are 12 sequences in the game. You play the first 3 of them as Haytham, and then the next 3 are a tutorial for Connor, which means you get the next 6 games to actually play as him and to actually be the title of the game, Assassin's Creed. Okay, well, the assassin part. Assassin's Creed 3 is just not structured well at all. That's just the main thing I feel with Assassin's Creed 3. Half of the game is a tutorial. And I think they just wanted to do more with Assassin's Creed 3 and maybe couldn't. I think they did his character really well, Connor's. But I feel like they went really tame on the things that could go wrong with him as a Native American. And I'm wondering if they decided to pull that back and just focus on the assassin parts. The story things of this game is one of my main gripes with it. Again, I definitely recommend checking out the Just Ask Your Uncle video because his thoughts on Assassin's Creed 3 are really put together better than mine are on the spot. I knew that I was making this video today, didn't prep any of it. I think the only one I prepped in my head was the Assassin's Creed Shadows rant. Realistically, it should go under had good moments. Half the story, but it really does bother me that much, and I really want to knock it down to meh. If I was just ranking the Assassin's Creed games, comparing them to each other, it would go under meh. Last but not least, it's Assassin's Creed Rogue, the first game where we play as a Templar throughout the entire... Oh no, I'm a liar. You start as an assassin. I baited you. What is my take on Rogue? I just finished Rogue at the time of this recording. I beat it about a month ago. I beat it in November, but then I took a break from making content for December because I just had too much going on. So the developers, I think they really did want to make the game longer, but one reason or another, they were just limited with Rogue. We only got half the game. That sucks, but I'm not going to knock it down any points for that. But my gripes with it are pretty much that it just wasn't long enough. Other than that, I have no real complaints about Rogue. I loved that when I whistled, I could visually see the little like ring around. I do still think we made a decent connection. Maybe I very easily made connections with our allies because I was like, oh, these guys are my besties. Nothing could ever go wrong. Hope and Liam for sure. Like I actually remember their names. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot Hope's name like immediately. I went to Sequence 2 and Shay said her name and I was like, thank God. That's why if you hear me in the video call her Pretty Lady a lot, at first it was flirting, the second time I couldn't remember her name. That's our secret. But I still think the assassin like relationships was good. I also think, I'm a little biased, but I also think it helped that I had played Assassin's Creed 3 first. I already had a connection to some of the characters, so then seeing their allies, I just completely trusted them and I thought it was a good, easy thing to get attached to those characters. And then having to kill them later as Templars definitely would have hurt more with more time, but definitely still hurt. The transition from assassin to Templar feels very quick, but I also think it was done well in a sense of he was saved and then he kind of went off to do his own thing and he knew not to trust the Templars immediately because he's like, well, these guys want the same power. What are they going to do with it? And I also think the writing for this game is really well in a sense of, and this is just how I interpret it, I feel like the Templars were written really well to show Shay, oh look, we're not the bad guys because we're doing this, we're doing that. And it's like very good verbal manipulation to make them seem better than they are. Because if the assassins were explaining it, they'd be like, no, they just killed 50 people. And the assassins will word it like, look, we just helped 100 starving homeless people. And it's like, well, yeah, because you killed the 50 people over there, fucking stole all their food and handed it to the other guys. You thought I was going to make a cannibalism joke. I see you. Yeah, I think the Templars are written like that intentionally so that the player and Shay has reason to trust the Templars because they just sound so convincing. Like, they don't sound that bad. And I think this game did really well on that. And it's so fresh in my mind. So I'm happy to put Assassin's Creed Rogue all the way at the end of loved it. So my unofficial ranking is that Assassin's Creed 3 should be meh because out of all the Assassin's Creed, I think it is the most meh. But that's not really what I'm ranking. I'm just ranking how I feel about it. So we're going to leave Assassin's Creed 3 under had good moments because like Shadows, though I'm extremely angry with it and with how they do things, I do think I had moments and I enjoyed playing the game. That's it. That's my ranking. Here's a little life update from December 2024 to December 2025. My hair is not permanently straight. I'm doing it for the holidays and I went back to dyeing my hair. My curls were very badly damaged and I wanted to work on healing them. So the last like 5 years I've been healing them. So now I wanted to damage and undo all of that. No, I don't know. I just missed having red hair from when I was in like high school. So I just felt like it, but I'm not going to bleach it all the time. I just bleached it the once. What are some life updates? Well, the major big boy one is, well, big girl in my case. I packed my bags and I moved halfway across the country. For those of you who don't know, I've been streaming from Florida for the last 5 years, and in August I decided to move in with two of my friends, who I can now say have become probably my closest friends in my whole friend group. Yeah, I moved to Kansas. I'm based in Kansas now. I got my own place over here. I would give you guys a room tour for this video. However, tomorrow is the 23rd and I'm flying to Florida and I need to finish packing tomorrow morning. So all of my stuff is on my bed and looks like crap. I've done a lot moving to Kansas. I've been to Tate McRae concert. I actually, at the beginning of the month, flew to LA to go to the Jingle Ball concert. I upgraded my PC this year. I did it in February. It was like right around the time I started playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I've increased my plushie collection greatly since moving. Streaming has been one of the greatest hobbies I've ever partaken, and I'm forever grateful for anything and everything it has and will lead me to. And I'm just happy to just sit here, play video games, man. Before I moved, my life was not so much of an adventure. I had graduated high school during the pandemic, got into a little depressive state after that. I got a job. I started working and I had like a social life there. I started streaming on Twitch around the same time. Far much more enjoyed playing games on the internet than I did talking to people in real life. I liked having a social life. I liked talking to people in real life, but all of this would make me smile just as much, if not more. Always love to come home after work and just do this, and I love it, and I'm so thankful. I'm not sure where I was trying to go with the whole thing, but it was just a big thank you to everyone who supports me. That's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching today's stream. Let me put a stream record down for my VOD.